Well, it's been 18 years since Keira Knightley was on a boat, which means it's either a bad day for pirates or me as a moviegoer. Netflix's latest thriller, The Woman in Cabin 10, based off the novel of the same name, offers a glimpse into the lives of murderous multimillionaires who aren't on their way to a private island. In this video, we'll be going over the film's biggest twists and turns, plus all the clues that point at who the woman in Cabin 10 really is. But before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm about 1 millionth of the way paying for my own luxury yacht, and every little bit helps. The Woman in Cabin 10 follows Laura Blacklock, an investigative journalist working for London's The Guardian. She's returned to work after a particularly chilling case. A whistleblower reached out to her claiming a renowned NGO was funneling money away from starving children and into their own pockets. However, before she could get the full story, the woman was murdered.
They killed her. Just because she agreed to speak to me.
So, to give her a break after this tough case, Laura and her boss agree she takes on something a little lighter. A fluff piece about a dying Norwegian shipping heiress setting up a foundation to help those in need. Laura was hand-selected by this woman, the heiress Anne Lingstad, who was impressed with her work, and who wouldn't mind a few days on a luxury yacht being wined and dined after witnessing her star informant drowning to death. The film wastes no time getting aboard the Aurora Borealis, Anne's luxury yacht she shares with husband Richard Bulmer. Aboard are several prominent guests who all end up being suspects in the deadly tale to come. There's Dr. Mehta, Anne's personal physician, Adam, a millionaire playboy, Heidi and Thomas, a dysfunctional couple with a penchant for martinis, Danny, the rock star, and Lars, the tech billionaire. Rounding out the cast are several crew members and, just to make it a bit awkward, Laura's ex, Ben, a photojournalist tasked with documenting the event. The purpose of this trip is to announce the creation of this foundation and how it'll give back to those who can't afford private doctors or experimental treatments. It's all to be part of Anne's legacy when she passes, and that could be any time now as she's struggling with stage 4 leukemia. But Anne is hiding a secret. She asks to meet with Laura and divulges her true plan. She intends to hand over not just some, but all her money to this foundation, giving it to people, quote, far smarter and kinder than her and her husband. This would essentially leave her husband with nothing. And the kicker, she intends to reveal this information at the foundation's gala in a few days' time. Retreating back to her cabin, Laura heads to bed, and in the middle of the night, she's awoken to a commotion in the cabin next door, Cabin 10. Muffled voices, a large thud, and finally a woman screaming. Laura makes her way to the balcony to see a body has gone overboard. The balcony divider is covered in blood. She alerts the crew, and in a matter of minutes, the entire ship is on high alert. A full inspection is done, ensuring everyone's on board and accounted for. But to Laura's surprise, everyone is. She tells security that she saw a body from a woman next door. But here's the kicker. They tell her no one was in that room. This is odd considering the night before she accidentally walked in there and saw a blonde woman taking a shower. She had also picked up cigarette butts that had rolled into her balcony from whoever was there. Those butts were conveniently disposed when her room was clean. So is Laura making all this up, or is there something more nefarious at play? Laura asks to see the crew, and Richard indulges her. Perhaps it was one of them she saw in Cabin 10, but none of them match. Dr. Mehta suggests that after a traumatic experience like the murder she witnessed a few months ago, it isn't uncommon for images to resurface between sleep and wake. Perhaps she thought she saw something that wasn't there. And things get really spooky while during her spa treatment, someone writes the words "stop" in the shower. Someone on board wants her to stop getting to the truth. But how can you claim someone was murdered when everyone's accounted for? With Cabin 10 locked, Laura takes matters into her own hands and climbs over the balcony in search of clues. It seems like a fool's errand until she finds a clump of blonde hair in the bathroom sink. This is the ship's maiden voyage, so this hair had to have been that of the blonde woman. She'll take this as evidence, but it doesn't last long. The next day, Laura's pushed over the railing and falls into the pool as the cover traps her inside. Luckily, she's saved in the nick of time, but the evidence she had stored in her coat pocket is mysterious mysteriously missing. At this point, everyone on board thinks Laura's an absolute nutjob. Even rockstar Danny takes his private boat and gets the hell off the yacht, saying he can't afford this crazy woman getting him in another scandal. But everything's about to take a drastic turn when in the middle of the night, a hooded figure knocks on Laura's door. She chases the figure into the depths of the ship only to find out it's the blonde woman from Cabin 10. She tells her to drop this, especially before he kills you. At first, Laura thinks this is Anne, but on closer inspection, it's not. The mystery woman panics and bashes Laura's head against a pipe, locking her in the hull. As we'll find out, if Laura knows the truth about what really happened, it could jeopardize all their lives. This isn't Anne at all, rather a look-alike named Carrie. Richard found out the will wouldn't be in his favor, thus he enlisted the help of his tech billionaire friend Lars to use advanced facial recognition software to find the perfect candidate to pose as his wife. Carrie was this person, and in exchange for a vast amount of wealth, all she had to do was pose as Anne for a day and sign this new will. But when Richard is caught by his wife with the imposter in Cabin 10, things take a dark turn. He gets in a physical altercation, throwing her against the wall and tossing her overboard. This is who Laura saw in the water a few nights ago. He quickly cleaned off the bloodstain and Carrie took over as the real Anne. With this knowledge, Laura pieces everything together. It was Carrie who had warned her about the message in the shower, and the person who pushed her into the pool was most likely Richard Bulmer himself. Little clues like Anne missing her second appointment with Laura, forgetting Anne stopped taking her meds, or forgetting the song Danny played for them in the Amalfi Coast all hinted at her being an imposter. Carrie never expected things to go this far, and now that she knows Richard is a killer, she's in fear for the life of her daughter back home. Even so, when they're anchored offshore, Carrie lets Laura escape, and she barely makes it out after being confronted by Dr. Mehta and the ship's captain, who are both working for Richard. It's not really fleshed out in the film, but Richard has some incriminating evidence on the doctor and helped him out of a sticky situation several years ago. The original plan was for him to administer a lethal overdose to Anne so the signing of the new will would go off without a hitch. Ben comes to save the day but is stabbed with the doctor's syringe, killing him. This allows just enough time for Laura to jump into the water and make it to shore. On the night of the gala, Richard is told not to worry. Laura wouldn't have survived the frigid ocean temperatures. But as he's making his big speech, Laura appears, outing Richard and the imposter. Carrie confirms Richard's dastardly plan and that she is not Anne, as the crowd is like,
"What is going on?
What is going on?"
As if this gala couldn't get any more interesting, Richard holds Carrie at knife point, hoping to escape in this nearby boat. Sigrid, his head of security, ends up shooting him, but can't get a good shot to finish him off. Luckily, Laura swoops in and knocks him out with a metal crank, killing him. We'll even see in one of the final shots an Aurora Borealis. Ironic, as it's the same name as the ship. What was supposed to be a break for Laura ended up being the story of a lifetime. Richard is dead, his plan exposed, and both the doctor and captain are set to stand trial for being complicit in the murders of Anne and Ben. An intern tells Laura she's the very reason she got into this line of work. A nice little tag before we see a message from Carrie thanking her. We get a brief glimpse of her safe with her daughter and an invite to come visit them as the movie ends. But what did you think of The Woman in Cabin 10? Was this a worthy thriller, or does it belong in the depths of Davy Jones' locker? I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.